Welcome to the WrestleTalk News. I'm Quinnell. On last night's episode of AEW Dynamite, the final two members of this year's Blood and Guts were revealed. And if you don't know who they are yet, I will be spoiling them here shortly, so best to skip ahead if you don't want to know, because seriously, I don't know how much longer I can not talk about it for. Oh my god, it's Kota Ibushi. They're doing it. The Mad Lads are actually doing it. Kota Ibushi, I can't believe it. But things aren't just massive on the screen for AEW right now. There's some big dealings happening behind the scenes too, as according to Fightful Select, AEW and Warner Bros. Discovery have been in discussions for months about extending their contract for TV rights, with sources reportedly stating that they believe an announcement could be made as soon as this summer. WBD have reportedly been very happy with AEW and its flexibility, including adding and subtracting content when needed and working around preemptions and network changes. The big news, at least for Tony Khan, is that this reportedly would be for a huge money increase for AEW. But what about us, the viewer? What's changing for our AEW that we see on screen? Well, potentially a lot. Select also reported that one of the major proposals from WBD to AEW was to expand their pay-per-view schedule, perhaps as many as once a month. Whether these would be standalone or added to the Max streaming deal remains to be seen, but regardless, we could be seeing the start of a major expansion and change in how AEW structures its yearly and even weekly content with their pay-per-view schedule, which means if you compare it to something like WWE's PLEs, AEW would have its equivalent Big Four already settled with Revolution, Double or Nothing, All Out and Full Gear. And you could even make the argument for the Big Five with Forbidden Door, which is also funny as WWE has its potential Big Five with Money in the Bank as well. And if there's a Max streaming deal as well involved, then it could be shaping up to be quite similar to WWE's structure, where you pay a subscription to get access to all the shows. Or it could be similar to UFC's structure, where you pay for a subscription but then pay extra for pay-per-views regardless. Which Nick Khan has spoken about in the past of WWE potentially adopting this new route too, so I'm just saying, there's similarities there. Meanwhile, over in WWE, there may be some shows that they were planning that have been pulled entirely. While appearing on The Footy with Broden Kelly, Bronson Reed noted that he'd heard rumblings that WWE were planning a tour of Australia in October this year. However, he also then said that those plans, he thinks, have been nixed. Whether this was supposed to factor into another one of WWE's international pay-per-views or not, we don't know, considering essentially every B pay-per-view of WWE's year has been held internationally, with Elimination Chamber in Montreal, Backlash in Puerto Rico, Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia, and Money in the Bank in the UK, while the A shows have been stadium shows on home soil. That will be changing come Payback in September, and there's also another Saudi show reportedly scheduled for November, which leaves that October gap. So it's not unfeasible that they could have done an Australian tour which included a pay-per-view in their original plans, though that is just speculation on my part. And now, over to Ollie for Dynamite, where he's going to talk about Kota Ibushi. Kota Ibushi, everyone! Oh my god!
Now it's time for my review of AEW Dynamite. In about 5 minutes, we're still in Canada. So here's Chris Jericho. He wrestled against Commander in the opening match, with his JAS faction mates noticeable by their absence at ringside, while Jericho mulls over whether to join that piece of carny S-word, Don Callis. Jericho gave Commander a lot, providing a solid base for the luchadors' high spots and always impressive top rope walking, but Chris caught one of those leaps into a lion tamer to win. Cue Don Callis' brown noise entrance music. Uncanny. I love that Don doesn't have actual theme music, it's just the sound of heat. In his latest way to manipulate Jericho into joining his family, Callis played a clip of him and Chris from when they were in a faction together back in 1995 under Bad News Brown. Don tugged at Jericho's heartstring nostalgia, saying Bad News would want them to stay together. I'm sure nothing will be more emotionally investing than the genuine moment featuring a real-life, sadly past mentor in this storyline. No way a bucket hat will make me feel more than that. Jungle Boy was chased out of his car by Hook again. Then came the best story in AEW right now. The second best in all of wrestling, only after the Bloodline saga. We're barely a month in, and the blossoming friendship between enemies turned tag partners Adam Cole and MJF is sports entertaining magic. This week showed a recap of MJF and Cole enjoying a night out on the town, where Max had sex with 4 women. How do you even book that? A handicap match? A one after the other gauntlet? A battle royale with everyone trying to toss each other off? The ring? Cole wouldn't partake though because he loves Britt Baker. Nerd. Which MJF respected, and Cole also wouldn't wear their joint "Better Than You" Bay t-shirt unless they do what he wants. Play the AEW Fight Forever video game. That sounds like one of the most awkward pieces of brand integration this side of a Pizza Hut trilogy meal battle royal. Or me plugging our brand new WrestleTalk presenters t-shirt that you can buy from WrestleShop.com right now, links in the video description below. But this was truly special, providing the real bonding moment between the two men. Initially hating the idea, MJF started to enjoy playing Fight Forever, where he muttered to himself, "It's more fun to play games when you've got a buddy." That's when Cole realized Max has never played a multiplayer game because he has no friends, playing into Cole's character, who's found his own community through streaming video games on Twitch when he was out injured. They admit they were both going to betray each other initially, but they've really come to genuinely like one another. Whereupon they beat FTR in the game to become the new tag team champions. That fantasy booking got a step closer next after they beat Big Bill and Brian Cage in the tag team tournament. The most fun match on the entire show, where the major moves were eye pokes and the single body slam. Max's continued effort to get over the simplest of offense is admirable. How do you stand out in a promotion that's got Bandido and Kenny Omega? You get over a double clothesline. They went for that finisher but didn't manage to hit it, presumably building it for the final next week, with Cole instead winning with the boom. Bill and Cage, by the way, should stay together as a team because they're great. Max and Cole put over them going for the tag titles afterwards, as Roderick Strong watched on cynically backstage. In Max's typical way of subverting pro wrestling tropes, he's taken the "how will they coexist" cliche and turned it into a hugely emotionally rewarding "they can coexist" story. In that tournament final, Cole and Max will be facing Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara, who beat Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy on this same episode. There's some poetic asymmetry between them. Cole and MJF are enemies turning friends, while Guevara and Garcia are faction mates getting frustrated with each other. But I really feel like Darby and Cassidy would have been much better opponents for the final, with Max's history with Allin and Cole's with Cassidy. I would have understood if Darby losing here because of Swerve's interference was to set up Allin helping Nick Wayne win his match against Strickland later on. That didn't happen either. Nevertheless, the match was loads of fun, with all these guys plus Swerve being my AEW mid-card / Super Juniors division right now. And just one small problem with stop trying to make Sammy Guevara a face! Elsewhere in JAS news, Jake Hager confronted Jericho backstage about their future. They've been together since day one of Dynamite, but best not remind us all of that debut episode finale. Jake, it was massively underwhelming, and he deserves to know if Jericho is joining Callis. Until then, he handed over his bucket hat, and he really likes that hat. Ruby Soho beat Sky Blue, kinda all by herself, to advance in the Owen Hart Women's Cup final after the Outcasts were ejected from ringside early. Sky Blue has improved so much over the last few months, and Ruby's fake face injury was sold really well. QTV debuted Harley Cameron's music video, which put over all her faction mates while speaking very fast at points. Rap. And then, in a smart piece of match ordering, Nick Wayne's AEW debut against Swerve Strickland was technically the main event, encouraging people to watch the unknown because there would be the huge fifth man reveals in the closing segment. Wayne and Strickland put on a great breakneck speed match, which stepped into an even higher gear after 2 spots in the final third. Wayne reversing a reverse Hurricane Rana off the top rope, immediately following up with a cutter for a great near fall with Swerve's foot on the ropes, and then Swerve reversing Wayne's top rope Hurricane Rana into a powerbomb. Despite Darby cheering Nick on from the ramp, Swerve won in the end. I like that Strickland won because I love him and he doesn't win that much, but I thought you could have protected him in losing with the right booking, which would have also given Nick more momentum on his debut. And the show closed on revealing who the Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club's 5th men were. Don Callis tempted Kenny Omega out into a trap where he was jumped by the BCC and their final Blood and Guts member, the returning Pac. Pac is back. A great idea, not just given their history, but also because it isn't Chris Jericho. They were about to Pillmanize Kenny's neck when Omega made his own announcement, playing a video package so powerful the BCC couldn't finish their beatdown. The vignette announced the Golden Elite, as Kota Ibushi will be their 5th man. Hangman and the Bucks then made the save, and Kenny promised once love and friendship have conquered the BCC's 5 guys, he'll be coming for Callis. The Ibushi reveal got a huge crowd pop, and it is an effective reveal in a go-home angle, but in execution I thought this was pretty shoddily done. The video package staging. What on earth was the Elite's plan with Kenny coming down to the ring? The lack of context for viewers who don't know who Ibushi is. This was well below the Elite's usual bar of excellence for their angles, and is in their slightly more negative traits of being a bit self-absorbed. This week's Dynamite is 81%. Now go watch Laurie, Pete and Luke playing AEW Fight Forever.
The Christian Cage special!
Guys, I was facing the wrong person.
I believe I can fly.